Hi, friend.
We have a lot going on in this moment. I have a cough drop in my mouth. I'm feeling a little like my blood sugar might drop. So I might be chewing on more cough drops or little things to help my sugar come up, glucose things. First of all, if y'all are watching this on YouTube, tell me in the comments if anybody else takes these, like little glucose tablets. Y'all have these in your house. They're wonderful. Love them. They're like a little treat, little snack.
But do they do what they're supposed to do?
They really do. And they do it better than like I would prefer, let me have a piece of slice of pie or something. But then that spikes, you know what I mean? It does the opposite effect of what you really need, even though it's so satisfying. But these actually like they do what they're supposed to do without you like feeling, okay, now my sugar's so high that I'm passed out on the couch.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is, story of my life. Love a good nap. We want to thank you so much for being here for today's episode. And we have to talk about our Patreon. You guys, we low-key have the funniest episode. We've never gone public with the things that we say in our Patreon, but you know what? For our women over there, we can do it for y'all. So go to createcontentacademy.com and go to the menu and then go down and hit Patreon. Go check it out. It's literally $1 a month or $4 a month just to support the channel for $1 or hey, $4, and now you get some exclusive content. You don't want to miss out. We'll see you over there. createcontentacademy.com. Because my sugar's high.
Well, guys, if you are also watching us on YouTube, today I'm going to be doing my makeup during this conversation just because, I don't know why. I was like, I'm going to get them something interesting today.
Mm-hmm.
A transformation during this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, I want to get right into it because we kind of long-winded, and sometimes we got a lot of topics today. So before we get started, you guys make sure you check out our Patreon. We have an awesome Patreon. It is very inexpensive. You can get it as low as $1.99.
It sounded like you said expensive. I was like, it ain't.
Very inexpensive. Let me enunciate my words. It's very inexpensive. So the lowest tier is $1.99, and we also have like a $4 tier and some other things available on there. So make sure you check out our Patreon. We're actually going to be recording a private secret podcast just for our Patreon people after this recording. So I'm super excited to, have some juicy conversations with Amber. And in order for you to have access to that conversation, you want to be on.
Is that Max?
Yes.
I was like, no, he is really jingling. That's a good thing, though. You know what room he's in. First of all, Timber sounds like he's wearing high heels. We got dogs today, guys.
Yes. No, he's doing his neck. His tag, his stuff on his neck jingles. Yeah. He's doing like this.
Wow, that is so funny.
So yeah. So definitely check out our Patreon. The links and everything is in the description. So if you have any, that's how you get to it. You can always get to it from our website as well. We got lots of fun courses and all that kind of things on our website. So if you're looking to learn more about how to do this and how we do this, check out our Create Content Academy website.
Yes. And the full episodes are never left on our YouTube channel. We're going to have just clippets of that, like the first 5-8 minutes, like something like that, enjoy that. And then the full episode is for the Patreon. So I think that's kind of cool too. So then you can always see the full episode. Watching it is a little different than just hearing it, which low key, when I was listening to our podcast the other day, I think that's very strange too, like listening to our own podcast, but it was very satisfying. Because I kind of forget what we say or talk about, but in the truck, seeing it on the screen was so cool to me. I was like, oh, that's so legit. Yeah, like on the podcast platform or whatever. I think I was listening to it through like Amazon or something. So cool. Amazon, whatever podcast.
Yeah.
Very fun. Very, very fun. I'm ready to get into it because there's so much that I don't know that you're going to talk about today with the Jeannie Mai and Jeezy conversation. Wow. Like, I was so shocked when I heard what happened to them, but I just don't know the details, you
Yeah,
know?
I don't know the details. I don't know if anybody knows the details because, it's still a developing story. But I want to talk about it in the perspective of like these Hollywood couples, right? So you see these Hollywood people. It's like, with Jeannie Mai, I've watched her since she was on like those style shows. So I've known her forever. Like, been watching her content on TV and things of that nature. I can't remember. I had it in my head and I lost it. And the show she used to be on way back in the day. So I've known her for a long time or whatever. And then, Jeezy, he's a rapper. He, I knew of him as well. So when they got together, I thought it was amazing because, their story, they met on The Real when she was doing The Real. And then, one of the big things about her previous relationship is that she was married to a guy, but that she said she didn't want to have kids. So
Who
she always
was she
said,
married to?
huh?
Who was she married to?
His name was Freddie. I can't remember his last name, but
Oh,
Freddie. It was another guy, essentially a white guy, and he, their whole, she talked about it tons of times on The Real or whatever, how they weren't gonna have any kids. They were married. I guess they had a conversation. They were fine with it, but she never wanted to have kids. But I guess, maybe he did or whatever. I'm not sure the thing, but all is they got a divorce. He had a baby like right away.
wow.
He had a baby like he got. I don't know if he even got remarried first. I know I know now. I think he's married. I'm not sure, but if he's married, but definitely he got a child. He got a child like right away, and then ironically, you know, Jeannie Mai got with Jeezy, got married. She also had a baby right away. It wasn't like, oh, she waited for, years to say, okay, you know what, actually, I want to have a child as well. No, she kind of got pregnant quick too, in a marriage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
okay, let's talk. Let's sit on this. I don't want to like slide over that because I have a lot of questions. I
yeah,
think I'm like, well, maybe it just wasn't like meant for them to be together forever, I guess. But I'm always like, but then y'all both had children with other people and y'all
yeah.
both were married and said y'all didn't want kids. I
I don't
find
know
that
if he said that. I know she said that. I don't know if he said it, but I know she said it for sure.
yeah, I find that so interesting. And I'm like, but then why? Do you know what I mean? Like, what was
Yeah.
it?
Because
Like,
I'm like, I don't know what was a big part of their demise in their relationship, but I'm like, if it was a kid, if y'all were, I'm saying, maybe they weren't right for each other, maybe they weren't meant for each other, but I feel like
right.
if it was a kid and both of y'all had one, that's kind of crazy that,
That was, yeah.
that's if that's why y'all broke up, that would be kind of insane. But she also said like, oh, she didn't want to have a baby with him,
Oh,
particularly, and things like that. But in general, she always said, she had a pretty rough childhood, and she's, if y'all make sure, she has a channel on YouTube, and she's talked about a lot of this stuff even
mhm.
before the whole divorce with Jeezy or filing divorce with Jeezy filing divorce on her. Um, you know,
But
she
he's
talked about a
not
lot of this stuff
spoken
on
out
her
about
channel.
it. Have
Huh?
you watched any clips where he talked about it?
Yes, he just had a whole interview. This is what made me kind of want to just discuss
Oh,
it a little bit. He just had a whole interview with Nia Long where he skated around it. He didn't talk about it. He mostly talked about his childhood, his trauma, his life, and how he had some type of epiphany, some type of dream where
hmm.
it was like, oh, it's time for him to take care of his inner child, his self,
Oh.
blah blah blah, whatever, and I'm not saying blah 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 to minimize him prioritizing himself. I'm only saying blah 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 because I feel like at this moment, one of the things too is like Hollywood is so tricky because I always feel for people who are in like major spotlights because everything they do can seem like a publicity stunt,
Mm-hmm.
because not only did he file for divorce from GZ, he's also just released a book, so he's on a book tour. He also has an album coming out, so it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. And then he does this whole interview, and the interview is that's his rollout for his book, his album, his book or whatever. They talk about
Yeah,
that as
like the
well.
timing of it is so awkward. I also find that very strange.
I know.
That I'm like, is this intentionally like this? Was your who do they have over them, right? Like who is it?
Manager,
Who
manager.
manager? Yeah, I guess your manager or somebody else. Anyways, publicist. I
Oh,
guess.
publicist. Okay.
Yeah. Or is that their plan? Like maybe this was like, I do want to file for divorce. Like I just don't think we should be together. Oh, okay, well, great. Well, you have other stuff going out. Let's just align them together. Like it's just very dirty.
Yeah, well, and I think to that fact, the divorce papers did have June on them. Like he initially signed them around June or whatever, but he didn't file them until right before this stuff. So I think that was in October or whatever. So they weren't filed until October. So it does. I mean, I'm not saying that's what he doing, but it did. It's a little suspect that
Yeah.
that you had these papers drawn up in June, but you didn't file them until book release and album tour time.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because everybody's talking about it now. You know what I'm saying? You can, another reason why I wanted to speak on it a little bit too, because like that's literally the other day when I added it to the list. That's all I was seeing on YouTube, like Jeannie Mai Jeezy, because he had this big conversation on. So I'm like, it's definitely one of the things when you're promoting anything or doing anything and releasing anything, it's like you want more eyes to be on you, and you
Mm-hmm.
want people to be paying attention to hanging on every single word you say, because now it's like this dramatic thing, right? And so
Yep.
by way of that, you're going to find out that, oh, he has a book, oh, he has a new album coming out. Did he talk about her on the album? You know what I'm saying? Like it makes people
Yeah.
naturally intrigued
Yep.
to see whatever you're doing because of now this big whole scandal is around you. It's not really a scandal. It's just somebody filing for divorce. No parties have said that either party have, cheated or anything like that. But still, it seems, it just seems weird.
Yeah, that seems so strange. I would feel so many ways if that was me. Now, Jenny Mai, I don't think she had a heads up either. I mean, and
No.
yeah, listen, we're not in their marriage. I have no clue what they talked about, obviously.
Yeah.
But also think some things like could happen like this, especially when you are like well known and obviously a celebrity, and then it's like you just get served with papers and you're like, didn't know that was happening. Do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
so very like blindsided. And it just,
Yeah.
I don't know. And I feel, so the last episode I watched on her channel was that she took him to, I think, her country and kind of showed him the culture and the things that she enjoys. But I think maybe something with him too, I think was in that episode, they planned this whole trip together. Things they would enjoy doing. And it seemed wonderful and lovely. And then that was the last episode I ever saw on her channel or that popped up on my feed. So I've not really gone back to her channel to see if anything else has come out. But I'm like, it's always so weird. And we say this all the time. Couples that talk so highly of each other, be suspicious. It just seems very weird. If you see a man talking about his wife all the time and it's like, I love you, you're amazing, it's the best wife ever, she's whatever to me, like it's just like too much. It's too much that you're just like sick of it. And then if you see a woman doing that to either a husband or even a boyfriend, like I'm just like, something's up. Like you just want to post.
Yeah, I feel, I always feel that way about, especially back in the day. It still happens to this day. But I remember like a couple years back, it was when I was, everybody was on Facebook more, whatever. I remember distinctly, I used to hate it with a passion when people were alive.
Thank you so much for being here. We have to say thank you to our company, A&O Inc., and our baby over there, which is Create Content Academy. You guys, we started this academy because our DMs were flooded with questions on how do you do video content, how do you start a YouTube channel, how are you actually converting people into purchasing product. And women were just very blown away by how you actually make a video and, convert women to do what you're asking them to do, if it's as simple as a subscribe or a purchase. But anyways, we have so much fun in our academy. We have taken so much time with putting together modules and workbooks and just the step-by-step so you're not overwhelmed by how to make a video online. And honestly, you can use this for short form content, long form content, and really any social media platform that you're using. It is about making a video as a content creator and obviously seeing some results with it. So we're pumped to have you over there with us. Head over to createcontentacademy.com. That is exactly the formula that Olivia and I use on a daily basis while working our online businesses. So we'll see you over there. That is createcontentacademy.com. And go to the menu and you'll see the programs. Everything's exclusive, very, very affordable, and we cannot wait to see you on the inside. All right, thank you. Let's get back to our broadcast.
Oh my gosh, my boyfriend or my husband is the best thing ever. Like they're constantly. I don't care. I'm not saying never praise your husband or your spouse or your significant other on social media or whatever. I mean, I don't see the point of it. But I'm just saying, I'm not saying never to do it. But I feel like when you are you're constantly doing it, and then all of a sudden you stop. It's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's a red flag. So it's like you make people. So I'm always like, nah, for me, because I'm a internet investigator. So when I notice it, I'm like, let me scroll on their feed to see what something trouble in paradise, because homegirl ain't posting about how good his grits is today.
Exactly. And I don't even think it's husband and wife content. I don't think that's what it is. It's the praising, like you said. It's the content, like you're so amazing, like over the top praising constantly over the craziest stuff. And then then you went silent and you're like, yeah, something's up. I can totally see like anniversary, birthday, just because like date night with my man or whatever. That's not saying how perfect and wonderful he is and how well he treats you. And then months later, you're like, we are broken up or we're divorced or we're separated. He's the worst husband I've ever had. He treats me like garbage. You're like, interesting. Because
he's a narcissist. What's the buzzword that they love to say these days? I mean,
that's a big one.
Narcissist, but I feel like every time somebody break up with somebody, they're like, "Oh, he was a narcissist."
Yeah,
oh, he was a narcissist. I'm like, oh my god. I just think it's weird.
I'm like, well, history shows on January the 2nd, January the 3rd, January the 4th, like daily. Sheesh. Yeah. So then I think too, I find it very funny when couples don't post about each other, and then when something does happen, you're like, well, that was shocking to me. I think it's still shocking, but you're not like, now was he posting all this stuff or did she actually say it? Like, was she forced to say it? Like, it makes your mind just go wild. You're just like, something doesn't seem right. I don't think things flip that fast.
Yeah. So I thought it was very interesting that you're right. The last thing I saw too, they seem very, happily in love, going to Vietnam together, experiencing her culture, all of those things. So I thought that was good. And I felt like they were not an odd match, but they were an interesting pairing or whatever. And I thought it was very cool because, now they have a daughter. She is, Black and Vietnamese. She's a gorgeous little girl or whatever. And I just thought, oh, that's kind of cool, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things Jeezy did say is that, you know, Jeannie Mai was, you know, very close to her family. And it actually brought him closer to his family, just being
Oh,
married to her. Because, you know, they would have family gatherings, and they even, you know, she even featured some of that stuff on her YouTube channel as well. So I thought that was pretty cool too, because, you know, family's important to her. And as a guy, a lot of times, you know, even, you know, me just being married to a guy, they, once they get married, you know what I'm saying, and they start their own family or whatever like that, they can sometimes like not be as close to their family
yeah.
anymore or whatever. So, and not just to say they're not close, they're just not as like intentional about getting together or doing things or whatever. So in the beginning of my marriage, I had to always ask my husband, like, oh, you know, especially because our families did not live in the same state as us. You
Yeah.
know, at the time, I used to be like, oh, we need to do this, or we need to, you know, invite them there, whatever, you know what I'm saying, or call them at this very least time.
Yeah.
Every time you talk to them, you know. So I think that's a great thing that she was able to help him get even more closer with his family as well. So yeah, I just thought that was cool. So I'm definitely very sad to hear about their divorce, because I hate when anyone gets divorced, celebrities or real people, you know,
Yeah.
especially when they have a child and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully they can end things amicable. And
I know. I think that's a big thing, is the how nasty and spiteful it can get. But then you hear great stories about how it was a wonderful experience. Like there was, I mean, they're still friends or whatever. Like I think it can go either way. I just hope that, yeah, same. Hope it can go really smooth for them. You know, when I'm sitting here thinking, so Jeannie Mai and a lot of the women from The Real, but Adrian had her channel, and it was All Things Adrian. I was trying to think of the name of it. All Things Adrian. You know, they were in a contract with a company. So I wonder if that's why Jeannie Mai hasn't posted recently. Maybe something with that, and she's going to start another channel or do something different.
I have no clue. I felt like she was the last one who was. Well, I don't know if Tamara is still using the same channel she had with the
I
contract.
don't know.
But I know, I feel like Jenny was the last one using her original channel with the company,
Okay.
the production company or whatever company. I don't want to say production, but whatever company it is. I
Yeah,
guess it
yeah,
was whatever kind of company it is. I can't think of the name right now, but anyhow, um, I felt like she was the last one using that I know that was using their channel. You know,
yeah. Okay.
the same way, because most of them had kind of went away from their particular channel, that one.
And
So
honestly, it shook me because when I found out about it, Adrian's channel, Love Always Adrian, her new channel, that's when she spoke about it. And I was like, I didn't even know like that was a thing. But then I always wondered, I'm like, well, she is on The Real and she has a film crew help her with her channel, those things that all that, and then editing. And she said she didn't have her hands in any of it. And now she loves having full control over what content she does put out and then how she does edit and all that. And I think that's really cool. I'm like, I had no idea, so fool me. I'm over here like, okay, this channel is lit, but it's because it just it was a different level. So yeah, I'm like, maybe she just has it posted because maybe her contract's out. She's like, I don't have to, you know what I mean? Maybe that's the case, and she's trying to figure her life out, obviously.
I was like, and then
Yeah, worried about
yeah, she's going through a whole crisis right now. Especially, I'm not 100%, but the way everybody's putting it out is that it wasn't like, oh, I knew this was coming. I knew, this was inevitable. Like, it didn't seem like that was the case for her, because moments before he, this whole thing that came out, that he filed the papers like she was posting about his book. So it didn't seem like, not to say you can't post and still be angry, or just still be like, oh, we about to be at the courthouse tomorrow. I'm gonna post about your little book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I feel also, I was watching the Kardashians. I don't know if it was one of the latest episodes. Kris had a party at the house, just like some of her closest friends, and that have supported their businesses, or they also support their businesses or whatever. Like, it's just like an understanding of like, these are my women. And she had a dinner. Jeannie Mai was at the table. And so they record that. I mean, it's obviously out now. So that was probably earlier this year. But yeah.
Jeannie Mai and Jeezy, or just Jeannie Mai?
No, just Jeannie Mai. So I was like, I wonder, I didn't notice, I didn't pay close attention because I don't think they got the shot, but I didn't see hands, I wasn't noticing that. But I was like, she's in this episode. I was like, interesting. She didn't talk or anything, but she was at the table, because you know how they just like pan who's there or whatever, but she was. So, and I just think right now we're in November. So they obviously, that was the beginning of the year. So it was probably before summertime.
Yeah.
And if they just went through with it, like you said, it filed in June, and then you said
no, they didn't file it at June. He filled out the paperwork.
He filled it, but he didn't do it until when?
October, September, I think.
Oh yeah, so by then she was still like, everything was fine.
Yeah.
Probably when they filmed that. So yeah. Anyways, I thought that was very interesting. I was like, oh, girl, I'm here. What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think she is so fun to listen to. Her mom is like hilarious. Them together, I truly enjoy it. I just know from hearing her on her videos, and I'm like, first of all, I hate that for anybody, but I'm like, that really sucks. Like, it really sucks. So, and to have a child involved is like horrible. It just hopefully everything is smooth sailing for them too. But I just think when you're in the spotlight, it can kind of get really nasty, even if behind the scenes is fine. Just hearing everybody else's voices and say so, I'm like, that's what makes it the hardest.
Exactly. Just everybody got an opinion. Everybody like, oh, you should do this. You should do this. You should do that. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She should be mad. She should do that. You know what I'm saying? You don't never know what people are going through. And so I think it definitely can elevate any type of proceedings, because now, like, oh, this person is saying this, and it's like, it can just all get kind of convoluted. So definitely hope everything works out. So I think we can move on to our next subject, because I cannot wait to hear about this.
Oh my gosh, you ready for it?
I'm so ready.
Okay, so y'all, this is another reason why we have our podcast, is because we personally, Timber, if you don't stop walking in here with your high heels, boy, sit somewhere. Sit. Can you hear his feet?
I mean, I don't pay attention to it until you say it, but I could hear it.
Yeah, and this room already echoes because I had to throw away the rug in here, and I'm like, everywhere he goes, I just hear his little paws. Anyways, okay, so Olivia and I sorry y'all for coughing. Olivia and I, first of all, talk all the time. Like, people don't believe us, but all the time, right? All the time. And so, but Olivia's really turned me on to like listening to more like podcasts or watching whatever. She'll like introduce me to different things. I want to watch that. I want to watch it. So then I get hooked. Well, years ago, I started watching Laura Lee. And before she ever introduced me, I didn't really know who she was. So I've been watching her channel for a long time. She's a big influencer online. She was one of the first YouTubers to like make it big and do a whole thing as an influencer on that platform. So she's very fun to watch. I really like her content as far as beauty and lifestyle and stuff. Well, she has a podcast with Manny MUA, and I listen to them, and I think it's called Full Coverage. And it's very funny. Some of the episodes, it's just too TMI. I can't do it. Y'all doing the most. I can't. But they're friends in real life as well, and business partners and all the things. So, but on one of their podcasts, I literally don't know this guy's name for the life of me, which now I have to figure out. But y'all have to go to their podcast and see. But they interviewed this guy, and he was on The Bachelor I think he was not The Bachelor. He was like, or he was on The Bachelorette, right? So he was one of the men. And then he's done a couple other things or whatever, but he recently was on, what's the, Savannah Chrisley was just on that show. They just filmed, what was it that she did? And it was like this army type thing.
Survivor, not Survivor.
No. I've been watching that too, and I literally cannot think of the name of it. Dang it.
I don't know.
Holy crap. I got to find this while I'm telling you the story. Anyways, they interviewed this guy, and because I knew on the title, like the show he was going to be on, I was like, oh, okay, I've got to watch this, you know? Mm-hmm. And dang it. And Osborne was on it, the son. He was on it. I'll find the name, you guys, or put it in the description, but I got to tell the story. So anyways, they were getting through the interview, and she was like, oh, we've met before, like telling the guy that they were interviewing. And he's like, we have, or whatever. And she's like, yes, you went with me to outer space. Y'all, when you talk about, I was like, huh? I was so tuned in. I was like, what is she about to tell us? This is insane. So she was like, yeah, you were with me. So Dr. Pepper, now I'm pretty sure it's Dr. Pepper. She's a Dr. Pepper fiend. She talks about it all the time. So she said Dr. Pepper took them, and you know they'll do influencer trips and take you to wherever. And I may be botching this story, so go to their podcast and listen to the full thing. But Dr. Pepper takes them on this trip, a group of influencers, and they literally fly this plane, jet, something another, up to space. I guess it hits so far into the atmosphere. I don't know the right terms, but it goes so high up, right, that it's considered space, where then you start floating around, right? I don't know how to describe. This is how I would speak to Olivia if y'all were not listening, and Olivia would be like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me.
First of all, I'm laughing like, was this in between space? Was this like real space? Like, what space they was on?
Because you know what I kept thinking? I kept thinking that maybe they're just in the, and I kept thinking maybe they're just like in this fake thing, in this like Hollywood studio type whatever. She said no, they flew it. And you know what's crazy? I'm pretty sure, you guys. I'm pretty sure they physically went up into the air in this thing. From how I heard her say it. Now I might be wrong. Maybe it was in a studio thing, but an accident could have occurred. I don't know. But they took this on this thing, and she was one of many like influencers that they took, and he was also one of them. And I don't know what he did at the time to make him be invited. I don't know, but they went, and how she explained it, and she was like, we were in a picture together, so the only reason I know you were there is because I was looking back into those pictures and you were there. And he was like, oh yeah, because I wouldn't have known. She's like, I wouldn't have remembered either. But she was like, it was the craziest experience. And she was like, you know what's wild about it is that it was so stupid of us to do that. Now thinking back, like in the moment, I'm like, yeah, so cool, let me go. But now looking back, it's like the submarine. When it had that explosion, which it wasn't like it exploded, the opposite of exploded, whatever, you know, it kind of imploded on them. She was like, it's like them, like, oh, let's go, that'll be a cool experience, and then boom, they lose their life. She said that could have been us, because she said, and I don't remember the timeline, it could have been months or years, but they did it again with another group of influencers, and people got invited, and they actually all died. So that's how
on this space day?
Yes. She said that could have been us. Yes. Yes.
Wow. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. And this was years ago. This was not a recent thing. This was years ago. This was some of like the first trips that she ever went on.
Wow.
She was like, that was the craziest. I don't know why I don't talk about it more. I kind of forgot about it, you know, because, you know, once you've done so many things, you just kind of like.
Yeah. You just move on. Yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe you feel like you've talked about it enough that you forget telling about it again. But she brought that up, and I was like, first of all, I've never heard this story. I didn't even know they did this. Did you physically actually like take like what a spaceship up to physical, like outer space area for you to kind of have that experience and then come back. I don't know. Was it a studio experience? Maybe we need to have Laura Lee and Manny MUA on our podcast to talk about this stuff. Because I am like, people do the wildest stuff. You know, I even think it's crazy. Like skydiving, I think is absolutely insane to me. People do it all day long. And I'm like, okay, to me, that sounds like I'm just trying to take a death credit. Please die today. We were driving to the kids' sports the other day. I don't even think I told you about this yet, or Courage. But hot air balloons were like out of nowhere. We were imagine driving down the street and then boom, this big old hot air balloon is like in your face. So we saw little ones from a distance, and then we're driving on the street, and then whoa, it was like huge. Like I guess where we were on the road, it just like hit right in front of our car. It was wild. But you know what I think about that? I've always wanted to do it. I thought it would be a cool experience. But I'm like, I don't think you're really strapped in. And then what if something happens and that thing just like immediately falls out of the air? Like it just starts going down. You have no control over how it lands, where it lands. It's all about the air and how you do the heat, you know, and you can move it to whatever. I'm like, absolutely not. First of all, what are you doing? You look like you're going to war. Olivia. I'm not a risk taker, and to hear her tell this story, I was like, holy crap, I cannot believe you did that. And they also both said it was a really insane experience. They can't believe they did it, you know? But cool to talk about. But I'm like, yeah, I can't handle it. Would you do something like that?
No, I'm not going to space. I feel like unless that's my job, unless I'm an astronaut, I'm not doing I feel like if I was an astronaut, then that would make a difference because I feel like I'll be way more educated in what it actually means. But
yeah,
I feel like, and if influencer people are like, oh, Amber and Olivia, y'all do a podcast, we taking a group of YouTubers to space, I'd be like, no. Especially in light of this story, maybe before the submarine, before all this, I don't know, but I don't think I could do it in the light of my knowledge of these random trips. Like, we're not going on the airplane. I mean, it's tried and true. And they still crash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know.
Yes. Well, when we travel to Pigeon Forge, when we travel to Gatlinburg, kind of in that same area, they advertise like a helicopter ride, you know, take a helicopter. I think even at like the beach and stuff, whenever we're there, and it's like, take a helicopter ride, take a tour around this city that you're staying in or whatever. And they're advertised everywhere. And we have literally, Alan and I have always second guessed, should we do that? Oh, that would be really fun. Let's look it up. We always look it up.
What a fun podcast, but we just have to stop and say thank you to A&O Inc. And A&O Inc. has now a new Patreon. A&O, did you know that the A is for Amber and the OH is for Olivia Hayward? Well, that's how cute that is, right? So we are so pumped to now have this super cool Patreon community because it allows us to actually get to know you better. And with that, we want to actually get your opinion on things going on. We also have many conversations that we would never discuss on a public platform, things that could be super embarrassing to even say out loud, but we are recording those and bringing you in on those conversations in the Patreon. So it's only $1 a month, or you can pay $4 and get a part of those exclusive conversations. The $1 just honestly is supporting what we do here and supporting the podcast. So we appreciate you no matter which one that you choose. We cannot wait to see you on the inside and get to know you better. Let's get back to the rest of the broadcast.
And we never follow through with it. You know why? Because we literally then hear or see or remember a story of a helicopter crashing. I'm like, first of all, I don't want to really get on an airplane, but if I want to go somewhere really gorgeous and tropical, I actually have to get on an airplane. Like, do you know what I mean? I have to fly there because I can't get there by car. And I'm like, oh my gosh, or it'll take me days. Like, that's insane. Like, you know, but I'm like, that already, I'm not scared of death. Like, if it happens, it happens. I think I'm just scared of the fact of I'm actually trying my life. Like, I'm pushing the death button right now.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary risk. That's what it
Yes.
basically is. Like
Yep.
you're giving yourself unnecessary risk because like flying to a certain place or whatever like that. It's like, okay, it's unnecessary. It can be deemed as unnecessary because they're like, oh, you don't have to go there. You can just stay in your state, whatever, not go anywhere
Right.
ever. But it is more of a like, okay, necessary to live my life
Yeah.
versus going on a helicopter to view little Tennessee. That's not. Hey,
Yeah.
it ain't really necessary for me. You know,
Yep.
it's not really that necessary. And you know, I never really thought about it, but you know, I don't know, probably back in the day, I would have gone on a helicopter ride. I don't know. But, you know, you're right. Helicopters be going down. You know, we lost the greatest, the GOAT in a helicopter. So that's kind of like, do we have to be in this helicopter?
Yeah.
I don't gotta be. If I'm getting airlifted somewhere, that's something else, different.
Yeah. That's different. Yeah. It's just a lot. And I think that more than ever, obviously, we hear about way more, you know, tragic accidents. But yeah, so it's wild. You know what, Olivia? I think you have other ideas of what we're talking about today, but I have something else I gotta tell you.
Oh, okay.
I have not told you this. You're gonna lose it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. How am I even gonna tell this story? Oh my gosh. Y'all, my husband was out of town for 9 days. He was supposed to be gone for 10, but he came back a day early. Praise Jesus, because I was one day closer to the loony bin. I so much happened while he was gone. Like, I can't even explain. Like, a regular week is regular. No, this was not a regular week. This was a week out of the freaking Twilight Zone. It was insane. So we left on a Saturday, like almost to lunchtime. Like, we were having to go to a party. So me and the kids, I drive a truck, thankfully, because I love a big vehicle. I feel a lot safer in that. Obviously, I know you can still be hurt, but I feel like it's a tank. Do you know what I mean? And so every time we get on the highway, and drop in the comments if you were this way too, I'm always getting to the fast lane, which another funny story is a reel was out a while ago, and this guy was making fun of people that drive in the fast lane and the slow lane. And he said the fast lane is for people that got money. They got ticket money. Do you remember that reel? And then the slow lanes for people that ain't got no ticket money. They like, leave me alone. Don't be giving me no dang ticket. Every time I get in the fast lane, I'm like, you know what? No, I ain't got ticket money. Get over. I was like, I ain't paying no $300 something ticket. No, but it cracks me up, and I'm like, you know what? That is facts, because those people are just booking it. Do you know what I mean? You're just going. You're moving with traffic, but you're always getting around the slow people. Mm-hmm. So every time I get on the highway, I'm always getting in the left lane. I mean, a couple miles down the street, I'm at least in the left lane. And that way I can just stick to it and I don't have to get stuck behind anybody. But this day in particular, I wasn't really in a hurry. And I try not to be in a hurry. I'm just like, when we get there, we get there. But I tend to always drive a little bit faster than I should. But I was driving regular. Like, I don't care who I was behind. Me and the kids were having music on. We were just talking. We were enjoying it, and we were chilling. I was in the slow lane. And if I wasn't in it's a 4 lane. If I wasn't in that one, I was in the 3rd lane, like, you know, closer to like the middle or whatever. And we were just chilling. And all of a sudden, and then Maddox, when we get on the highway, there was a white sports car. Like, I think it was a newer Corvette. And he was like, look at that fast car. And I would have been, and he said, I think, I'm not sure, but normally we would have been like, oh, let's go look at it. You know what I mean? And so we're kind of getting up the highway to go check it out. But I was like, yeah, cool. And I didn't even I never thought about it. Never crossed my mind to like move quicker, go see it or anything. So we're driving up the highway, and 2 exits up from us is when something crazy happened. So we're driving, and then all of a sudden, all these cars that had just passed us were 5 cars behind everything that just happened. We start seeing a huge 18-wheeler. He's in the right lane. we see him just merge all the way to the left lane. His whole truck just goes like this. I thought it was like a freaking movie. And then when his truck went all the way left to the fast lane, he went off the road into the guardrail. This was before the concrete wall was up. Into the guardrail, crushed it, hit another car in the oncoming traffic going northbound.
What?
Debris went everywhere, and guess what was happening? Cars were flipping. I've never seen cars flip like this in my entire existence.
So y'all was still back.
We were still moving. And as it was happening, we were moving.
It was just happening in front of your face, yeah.
Right in front of my face. And then my feet came off the gas. I didn't brake, like obviously a lot of traffic's behind me. So I'm just like off my gas. And we're just like, and all I said out of my mouth was Jesus, 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 Jesus. Oh, gee, like that's all I could say. I had no other words. I was in shock. I'm like, the kids are with me. We're by ourselves. And we're like, how do we help? I can't do anything. I can't get out of the car to help because I don't know what to do. I'm not getting the kids out of the car. I'm not leaving them in the car. So I just stop. And I'm like, out of respect for what just happened, there were probably 10 cars in this accident. They were either hit, they flipped, or something. The truck was on its side, people, and then it looked like ants. You know when you hit an ant pile and people ants were everywhere. Everybody stopped their car and they were out of their car. I've never seen people move so fast. And thankfully, right? Out of their car, onto the car, trying to get people out, trying to check on people. They were jumping over the guardrail to get to the other lane. So we're going southbound and northbound. So now northbound is stopped. Southbound is stopped. Nobody's there. No cops, no paramedics, nothing's happening. Just people and panic, right? So I immediately call 911. I tell them where we're at. And the most horrible thing that I can think of, and I was like, this is what I tell the kids all the time. Pay attention to the mile markers. When you're driving, as a driver, pay attention to the exits, the mile markers, and landmarks around you. Because if anything happens, if you break down and somebody's like, where are you? And you go, I don't know. I think I passed. Do you know what I mean? Like you have no way to tell them anything. And so when I called, that was my mistake. She's like, where are you at? And I was like, I don't know. There's a flea market though. And I told her the flea market that was off that exit. I was like, I don't know the exit number. I don't even know my mile marker. That's all I can tell you. I'm on 85 southbound. This is the flea market. That didn't help. But then as I was explaining it to her, she's like, we just had a bunch of calls come in. Everybody's calling right now about that accident. And I'm like, okay. She's like, we know where you're at. So then it was done. Then I call my husband and I'm telling him, and he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, okay, well, y'all can't do anything. You just need to drive slow and just keep going. And I'm like, but out of respect for these people, I can't be moving my car. That is rude. Like, can you?
Was it even? So what did y'all end up doing? Because could y'all get around all of it?
Yeah. So yes, we could. But this is what started happening. I'm not moving. I'm actually in shock right now. That I feel like a movie scene.
So you are stopped. You are at a dead stop.
Okay. Yes, dead stop in the middle of the highway. Yes. I didn't come off because I thought if I stop, other people will follow suit and they'll stop. And they did. But then what people started doing probably after like 5 or 10 minutes, they started going around me. They don't know if I'm hit. They don't know. Like, did debris hit my truck? They have no idea. Do you know what I'm saying? I got my hazards on. I'm like, nah, we staying right here. Okay. We ain't going nowhere. But they started going around me. And Alan's like, you've got to move. Like, you can't just stay there. You've got to move. You can't do anything. I'm like, oh my gosh, but these people, and then there were children. Oh, it was, and I was bawling. I could not, like, I was literally having anxiety, panic attack. And I was like, but pull it through. The kids are also with me. And all we can do is pray. So we're praying for the families. We're praying for the kids. We're praying for the paramedics on the way. Like, just really like, oh my gosh, please make sure nobody dies. Like, keep everybody safe and protected. And we don't know if this guy in this truck, because we kept looking it up on the news. And it said there was an accident, but there was no detail on death, why it happened, nothing. And we're like, okay, wonder if nothing, and still a couple of days after that, nothing was still released about it. So we don't know. I mean, obviously, we don't really know. We don't know. But I assume if someone passed, they would have shared it. But that's not always true. The family has to say, yes, you can release that information. I'm pretty sure. And then sometimes I guess they would even say what happened, like the driver was XYZ. Like literally nothing was covered on it. And it was crazy.
First of all, that sounds like crazy. And y'all know this. Amber started this conversation talking about, oh, we talk all the time. We talk all the time, and I cannot believe I'm just hearing this very traumatic experience on the podcast.
Firsthand. It happened. So Alan left on a Wednesday. It happened on a Saturday. We went straight to the birthday party. And even at the party, Maddox was kind of having a moment in the car about it. But we went into the party and I didn't even tell anybody because I felt like I just saw something crazy, but I feel like it's so devastating. I don't even have the details. How can I share this right now? I could, that's a mood booster. I mean, a mood dimmer, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah, especially at a party.
Oh my God. So I didn't say anything. And so I think that Maddox ended up, my oldest son told his aunt about it at the party. And then after the party, we went out to eat and then she said something to me about it or whatever. And then I think at the party from that or something, like I ended up telling a couple people, like as we were just sitting there talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, listen to just what happened or whatever, but not like to all the kids and make a big thing about it because I was no. It's too much. And so, but the kids are also like, I can't believe I just saw that, so they were saying something about it, but, and I didn't even, so Courage came to our house maybe that day or the next day. I think the next day, I didn't even tell her till Monday because I was like, I ain't telling Courage. She ain't going to get on the road again. No. Okay. So I just kind of like left it, I just left it. And I was just like still in shock. This is what I have found out about myself is that I thought about the other day, when the accident happened here at the house with the side-by-side and it flipped or whatever. And Ava and Levi were really hurt and she broke her wrist and he cut his head and stuff. I also acted like slow motion. And when Angel, my sister, we had an accident here at the house yesterday with one of my sons had stitches. And it like dawned on me, I move in slow motion when tragic things are happening. I think but when you fall and you cut yourself or when I physically can't see what happened, I'm like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. I panic. And I go to a 10 and I'm like, call 911, But when I see the physical problem, I think I I kind of go like, is this real life? And I think with that accident, that's how I was. And I was like, did this really just happen? And so I'm just like thinking, is that real? Cruz woke up this morning. He was like, I dreamed that I had stitches. And then I woke up and I did. I was like, me too. I was like, did that just happen last night? Like, it was just weird. And so I just, yeah.
Well, honestly, I think the slow motion is a better reaction than your normal reaction.
Yeah, my normal reaction.
So I think slow motion is not a bad way to be.
Yeah. I'm just like in shock, like, okay, what do we do? Like, I'm like, oh, it's so bizarre to me. But I was like, I actually think that's how I always react when those happen, which I've never realized.
Until recently, right?
Yeah, until recently. Until Angel said it last night. And she was like, I was zooming past you trying to make sure I handled it before you lost your mind. But you were like so slow. Like you weren't even reacting. And I was like, I didn't even, was this real? What do we do? Like, it was I'm like, well, yeah.
That's funny that Angel was trying to prevent you from losing your mind.
Yeah.
But you were like, oh, I'm just cruising. I'm on cruise control.
Yeah, I was definitely on cruise control for sure. Yeah, I can't believe I hadn't told you that yet, but that was crazy. Yeah, this is a lot. Grapes and raisins. Let's get into it.
All right. So, grapes and raisins. Do you got one?
Well, I would have to say since we were with y'all last week, my raisin is that Alan left to go out of town.
Oh, first of all, yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
You know what?
everything apart.
I want to talk about this on the. I hope you're open for this. I want to talk about this on the private conversation because
Mm-hmm.
prior on our private podcast on our Patreon,
Yeah.
because prior to Alan leaving last week, I know a couple of weeks prior to that, um, y'all were having a bit of a little problem, not like problems, but
Yeah.
yeah, and you were like whatever. So I will hopefully that we can touch on that a little bit because I think sometimes in your relationships or whatever, when people are like, what is it called? Distance make your heart go
Ponder.
real quick.
Yes.
Do you think that was the case the last week?
Yes. Because when I sent him that text while he was gone, I was in Harris Teeter grocery shopping and I immediately had this like sorrow feeling. And I was like, oh, yeah, we can talk about it. There's a lot I could say. We'll share in the Patreon. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. But I'm like, it's real life, and I immediately thought about it when you were like, oh, it was a nightmare when he was gone. I was like, interesting.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I think that too. I said to him last night, and I'm like, do you just think we're at this stage in our life where, especially as a parent, you go through multiple stages of like raising children. Everything's very different at different ages. And I'm like, is this where we're at now though? Like, is this going to be a regular thing? And I'm like, I don't think.
I know. First of all, honestly, I'm praying that it's not, but I feel like the situation, you have boys, they're very tough and rough, and they are running. I mean, they're very outsidey boys. They're not boys that are like in the house all the time. So, I mean, I grew up with 6 brothers. We didn't have that many. I mean, we definitely had some hospital visits. Not too many, but they're just always doing something. Okay.
Yeah.
So this might be the same.
Different. Every day's different. Like you don't know. You have a plan. Courage said something to me so enlightening. I was like, you know what? I can't stand when she says something that is like, it's freaking aggravating as crap. I woke up the morning all the crap was falling through, right? It's early in the morning. And I said, I went to bed and woke up this morning planning today to be the best day and the perfect day. She was like, why did you do that? You know what? When she said that to me, I was like, because that's what I want, And she's like, no, you should have woke up and said, what did she say? You're going to, whatever comes today, I'm going to handle it well. Whatever happens today, that's what I have control of. I'm going to handle it well. And I was like, oh, well, that's a better way to say it, I guess. Interesting. Like, it's so freaking aggravating.
Yeah, because it's true. Like, you cannot control what's going to, like, we have no control over our day. So that's why it's super imperative that you wake up, you put yourself in a positive light, you get in your Bible, you do your word, you do your whatever, you listen to worship music, whatever you do to start your day out on a positive note. Because honestly, I do know that if you start your day out more positive, you can have when things do happen, you can handle it in a better way versus if you just woke up in a crappy mood and, things start to not go right, then it's like, okay, I can't really shake these negative things that are happening or these not so fun things that are happening because I didn't start out with any joy,
Right.
I didn't wake up with any joy. I didn't wake up with any, I didn't use any type of tools or tactics to set my mind on a more positive note for today, not in general, because sometimes, especially me and you, I feel like we have a very positive outlook on life. Like our friends are like, y'all are just too optimistic. And shallow in a sense. They call it shallow too, because and that's the thing, when people call me shallow, I'm like, I'm actually I want to be, and we're talking about shallow in a certain sense, guys. We're not shallow in maybe the superficial sense. We're not talking about that, but just talking about like deep thinking and deep thoughts and deep and being. I feel like our emotion for sadness isn't. We get angry, we get sad. Yes, we can do that, but it's not our normal thing. Like
Yeah.
I feel like some of the other people we know, like they get sad way more than we do.
Yeah. I
I
can't even cry like that. I'm like, snap out of it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like in that sense, and I'm like, it's like it's pros and cons to it all, but yeah. So I feel like I don't know what people do, but yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. It really is wild. All right, let's cut to it. So that was my raisin.
Raven.
Alan going out of town. My grape was him returning. uh, yeah, I mean, honestly, it was really tough, and I was like, I wasn't a single parent while he was gone because I'm not a single parent. I know that I don't say that lightly, but I felt though in the mind that I was. Everything fell back on my shoulders, and I took on way more. I heard way more. I experienced way more while he was gone. That typically he is the middleman. Like he is hearing before it gets to me, and I appreciate that, right? Like, and he's that blocker sometimes because he knows my capability. He knows like mentally what I can handle, what I cannot, or what I choose. Like that's my boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always here for that, And so we talked 25,000 times a day while he was gone, though. He was out hunting, if y'all are wondering. He went on a great hunting adventure. But yeah, we'll get into it. So that's my grape and raisin, and that's simple as that because we're gonna talk about it in Patreon. So what's your grape?
Yeah. Okay. So, my grapes and raisins. My grape is currently. I am. Come here, Max. Come here, Max. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. I want to show the people.
Olivia literally is a dog lover.
Look at this cutie patootie. Look at this cutie patootie. This is my grape for the week. I am pet sitting this little cute little doggy, and he's such a sweet dog.
He's good.
So sweet and nice, and he doesn't bark, and he just sits on the couch all day or sits in the bed all day and just chills and looks. I mean, he's a little greedy goblin. You go near his treat bag, he will come running. Okay, so he's greedy. He wants to eat snacks and treats, and he will try to look for stuff on the floor to eat.
Oh my God.
But that's all he does, and he just sits there. You see him? He doesn't bark. Listen. I babysit another dog sometimes. I dog sit another dog sometimes.
They are little babies.
It is no way that I would have recorded a whole podcast and he not have barked one time. It's absolutely no way. Okay?
Yeah.
This dog, did y'all even know he was hitting the room?
No.
You didn't. That's why I love him. He's so sweet. So that is my little grape gumdrop right now. That's all you can hear is his the loudest he gets is his little tags shaking.
Yeah. By the way, you guys, funny story. Olivia literally is like, no, I don't want dogs. I don't want dogs. I don't want dogs. But now in the last year and a half, she's like, I kind of think a dog would be fun.
I know. I'm actually the more our dogs sit, the more I get opened up to actually wanting a dog. I'm like, I feel like it's so weird that I actually can consider, like, I actually think about, like, oh, what would it be like to have a dog? But you guys know what? Sometimes I snap out of it because I'm like, oh, now I gotta be worried about who's gonna watch this dog if I gotta go somewhere. But now that I'm a dog sitter, I got plenty of dog sitters. So if I get a good dog, I mean, I watched your dog. Let's see if you can work around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you definitely have people in your pocket now. That's so funny. Yeah,
exactly.
He's a good one.
So, but he's a good little man. So yeah, so that was my grape, my raisin. Oh my gosh, let me tell y'all about my raisin. The other day, first of all, my raisin is when you go into an event, read the dang on address to where it is.
Oh my God.
Because the other day I got up, I got dressed, I did my makeup, I was looking so cute. And to go to this event, and I did not read the address because I've been to the event before and it's been in this specific place. And so I just automatically thought, oh, it's going to be in the same place this year. And, that was not the case. I literally walked in there. I'm just sashaying in there. I go upstairs. First of all, the students, they was just looking at me. It was a couple students standing at the door. And they was looking like, where's she going? They didn't say nothing. They didn't say a mumbling word.
Oh.
Then when I got up there, went all the way upstairs, went all the way into the room, and nobody was there. I was like, this room was empty. Y'all should have saw me when I looked in the room. I was like, wait, what is happening? Where is everybody at? So then I text them. I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not realize. And I have looked at the website because I kept on needing to know the time. And it's probably their fault because I feel like it should have been more prominent. It should have been more prominent on the dang on flyer where it was.
You said it's their fault that you went to the wrong place. You were funny.
Yeah, because they should have had that bigger on the website. That it was going in this place. Come on now. Y'all didn't host it in the same place for multiple years. Y'all should have by the way, we got a venue change this year, y'all.
Yeah, I can see actually that should have definitely been more of an announcement. But how you just said that, you know what? I think it's their fault.
Blame it. But yeah, so I was like, man, are you serious? I literally, and after that, it wasn't too far from the other place, but I was already running late. I was like, now, and then it started raining. And so they're like, oh, we got your seat. Come on in, whatever. To the next venue, I literally, in the first venue, I literally parked right there, could walk. It was already starting to drizzling, but the parking space was so close to the door. I just got right in there very quickly without getting really wet or anything. The new venue, I'm like, how many people did y'all invite? Because this new venue was actually the Civic Center. So it was a lot more parking, a lot more crowded.
Yeah.
I was just like, and then it started raining. I was like, no, I ain't doing this. I would have went in there. I would have been soaked because I didn't have an umbrella either. So.
Oh yeah, no.
I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
See y'all next year.
And the time that you have an umbrella, it's like not even in your car when you need it, when the weather is crazy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was my reason. Pay attention.
Well, if you don't know this, y'all, Olivia is living in the town, city, that they have events every single week, multiple times a week. So if y'all ever want to know what Olivia's up to, she just party hopping. That's what she's doing.
I'm going to events. If you guys don't know, also I am the creative director for the city women's magazine. So that's why I go to all of these different events, because it's always some type of women empowerment, some type of way the magazine actually does media sponsors for a lot of the events. So we always have a table. So this particular event, it was $150 ticket, but because we are the media sponsor, I have a seat at the table, and I didn't make it to the table for this one. But that's so that's why I go to a lot of events. I do, and I was not expecting this when I moved here.
Yeah, Olivia's she rubbing shoulders with all the elite. So yeah, it's very interesting. We need to have podcasts on all the people we've met. Yeah, so all the things. Yeah, so cool. Cool experience. Well, this was a great episode, you guys. Thank y'all for being here. Make sure you head over and watch it on YouTube if you're not. That's called A&O Show on YouTube. And then you can listen to our podcast on any podcast platform. So give us a 5-star rating and just drop in there and just leave a comment that's like, hey, first time watching or first time listening, whatever that looks like. leave us a question or review. We would love to even read it on air. That would be really fun as well. But we're excited that you're here, and subscribe and go to our website at createcontentacademy.com if you're interested in having immediate instant access to our coaching and courses that we have there, which are amazing. And those are basically our staples to how we have started our online business. And that is now very successful. That has allowed us to be full-time entrepreneurs. So we're excited that you're here. Thank you guys. Anything else, Olivia? We're going to head over to the Patreon right now and record that.
Yeah, nothing else. It's in this video, in this podcast, I did my makeup as we were chit chatting. So if you want to see that, make sure
you check so pretty
channel, because it's complete. I don't have earrings, but I look cute.
Okay. Cute, honey, cute, and leopard, honey.
Yeah,
that is really pretty. Yeah, that came together now. It is so funny watching anyone do makeup because the process is wild. But then it's like, okay, that came through. Oh, and I want to ask you about, we'll talk about this on Patreon too, how you're liking those new products you're using.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because you got some new stuff. Okay, well, we'll see y'all next time. And again, every 2 weeks we have a new episode. So we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.